The following podcast is an enticing media production. Thank you for listening to this podcast. You are now socially obligated to pour yourself a drink, and welcome to the Drunk Squirrel. We bring the fun.
Yes, we bring the funk.
I mean,
We definitely do. Yes, we bring the funk.
and Nell has started recording us, so to be clear, it's funk, not anything else.
Ooh, I do have a
F-U-N-K.
cold, so I am a little gunky. So it could have said It could have sounded like
So wait,
anything
you
else.
bring the funk and the gunk.
Oh,
Yikes!
You bring the gunk funk.
who's got the junk in the trunk?
I'm waiting. I want Mel to drink more of that bottle of wine, and I feel like the recordings get more fun after the.
I mean, I added more while she wasn't looking.
Well, I noticed my glass was the whole way up when I sat down.
Oh, you
the
gave her
whole
an
way up.
entire full wine glass.
I mean,
it's
it was
still a half-empty wine glass. It's not up to the rim.
it was like down to here when I filled it, and now it's like halfway gone.
Nice.
Actually, that's how you should be able to tell if they're a pessimist or an optimist. When is the wine glass full?
Right. The wine glass is never full.
So for a realist, is it half full then?
But where is half full in a wine glass?
The halfway mark?
I mean,
There's no marks on the. There's no
Well,
marks on
no.
the glass.
no, but there's just etiquette.
Yeah, you can tell like
Right. And
when
etiquette,
it's
it's
half
normally
full.
just under like that halfway line of
Right.
the glass. So is that a full wine glass? Or is that a mostly empty wine glass?
The drunk squirrel has no
Yikes.
etiquette.
No, of course not. But,
I feel like this is
Every
way
now and
too
then-
deep for the drunk squirrel.
Right?
well, drink more.
Drink more of the deep. No. Ah.
So, ladies and gentlemen, we are still talking about our wives, our relationships, and
Welcome to part 2.
yeah, where it gets weird.
Yikes!
This
Yeah.
is likely going to get weird.
So we hadn't actually intended on doing a part 2, but Rob had mentioned that he had some questions. And we actually then, after we stopped recording, we were talking about like honeymoon stories. And I was like, wait, guys, save it for part 2. So we have officially embarked on part 2.
Here we are.
Well, I mean, the first question I asked was proposals, and that got
Yeah.
two very different reactions.
It did.
So
It did.
before I ask Kenny that question, I want to ask Nell that question.
Oh, gosh. What was the question? I have to remember exactly what
Like
it was.
just like what the proposal was, right?
Yeah, because Kenny started having a very specific reaction, and you actually got even a little defensive. And I'm very curious now. What is your perspective on? I mean, it was obviously good enough that you said yes.
Yeah. Okay. So it's interesting because, and this kind of correlates, I think, to the way that we live our lives now. So I remember that night specifically. I had moved up here July that year that you proposed. And this was in like October, I think it was. So I was still like, I had ties, like things that I was doing in Maryland. And I was working that weekend down in Maryland. And I was driving back. It was Sunday night. What are you shaking your head for?
Are we talking about the proposal?
Yes.
No, you're wrong.
No, I'm not.
All right. Hold on, Kenny. Hold on. This is going to be interesting. It's
I
like
am not wrong.
pre-deathmatch.
So it was raining. I was on the turnpike. I think I called him and I was like, I'm running late. And I was frustrated. And because it was just like, it was a like bad ride home. And I finally I walked in and I was like, I just need to take a shower. And I think at this point he was like kind of like doing this, like getting ready, like prepping or something. Cause I kind of now looking back, I would notice I was like, this is kind of weird. What's he doing? And then I got out of the shower and he proposed.
And
In our bedroom.
wait.
I'm like, don't put any clothing on.
No, but this is no, I got out of the shower. There was a bear, a little stuffed bear sitting on our dresser in our bedroom, and the bear was holding a ring box. And that's when he proposed.
That's effing lame.
Oh my
Okay. Well, hold on.
That's cute, though.
Effing lame.
This is a weird question. I'm sorry. I have to ask since you prefaced it this way. I mean, did you have clothes on?
I did. Yes, I did have clothes on.
Okay, thank you.
Sadly.
Because I was ready to go to bed. I was just like done with the day, you know?
But it was a great twist and turn to the end of your day that
Yeah.
you weren't entirely expecting.
No, and I think that the reason why I say this correlates to like how we live our lives now. Looking back, I enjoy the privateness that it was, because now I feel like we do so much that is exposed to other people. I almost feel like if the situation was different now, we would have like filmed it for YouTube. Or what is happening?
Rob's knocking stuff off the wall.
So good.
You can just leave that off the wall for now.
But yeah, no, I feel like we would have like tried to make something of it. Either like we would have filmed it for YouTube, or we would have like been like, oh, we have to make this awesome so that we can use it as content for something else that we're doing.
Yeah, you're probably right.
Back then, I feel like I enjoy how private and personal it was, and that we didn't feel the need to, as we say today, use it for content. Mm-hmm. And that you didn't have to like go through some hoops to like try to put it on like a scoreboard at a game or something like that. Like very, very public. Like do something totally wild that wouldn't have been necessary to do that. Like, I feel like that was the very much beginning of our like married life. Was everything we did was very, don't hate me for saying this, underwhelming. Because I have friends that
Like I
got
said.
married around the same time. Mm-hmm. They were obsessed with the size of their diamonds on their rings. Mm-hmm. And they were obsessed with how he was proposing and doing all this stuff. And I'm over here like, I got my ring. I'm fine with it. I don't plan on trading it in. It's like a small diamond compared to what you guys are talking about. Mm-hmm. It's very like, we were so very like, we didn't care about any of that stuff. So that's what I love about it.
And that's awesome. I love that.
That definitely was good for me, because it wasn't a huge diamond or anything like that. Nor did I feel like it needed to be. Like, because I feel like if it needs to be, then you probably already have problems to begin with.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Like my sister walked into a jewelry store one time when we were kids, because my mom loves jewelry. And when we go to the mall, like during the summer or something, she would go and get her rings cleaned at Zales. And we'd walk in, we'd look at all the jewelry. And I was never a huge jewelry person to begin with. My sister would like look at all the engagement rings and things like that. And I'd be like, Jesse, how do you know that like this guy's going to be able to afford a ring like that? And she goes, love's expensive. And I was like, oh,
Yikes.
Ain't that the
truth? So I'm happy about the fact that we never put any pressure on any of that stuff. Like, it just didn't mean anything. And it still doesn't now. But I just feel like we would have felt pressured to do something with and make it elaborate so that we could use it somehow in our lives. If that makes sense.
No,
It does.
really
It
does.
absolutely
Sorry,
does.
it's
I
actually,
love that.
It is a beautiful sentiment. And I think it was one of the earlier episodes that we were having like a month or two ago, where somehow we were talking about Valentine's Day gifts, and you had been reflecting on, everyone was like, what's my boyfriend going to get me from Victoria's Secrets? And you shared that story. But
flannel pajamas.
Flannel jammies.
Now you said that whole story, so I'm going to leave that to my wife to share how we got engaged from her perspective.
Yeah, because I don't know.
Yeah. I have no idea.
So I'm all ears.
So Rob proposed to me at Turkey Point.
I literally thought you were going to say Turkey Hill. I am so sorry. So sorry. Please continue.
We did stop at a Turkey Hill, I believe, on our way there.
I was like,
Okay,
shit,
no, wait,
just say
wait.
Turkey
Rob
Hill.
almost like freaked out and lost his mind because we had to fill up the tank on our way to Turkey Point, which is a really beautiful like lighthouse that like overlooks the Chesapeake. Yeah, it's amazing.
Not a
I
gas
love
station?
that. No, definitely not.
Okay, cool.
However, Turkey Hill, I mean, at the end of the day, whatever, I don't care. We're getting married. But
That's true.
but no, it's not. But no, we had to stop at Turkey Hill to get gas. And while we're stopped there, I get on my phone and I was like, oh, I need to contact my mom or something, which Rob immediately lost his mind.
Don't
He was
call
like,
your mother.
Why are you calling your mom? I was like, because I forgot to tell her something. And he's like, don't call her. And I was like, but
Be in the
Why
moment.
are you telling me I can't call my mom?
Yeah,
Be in
like,
the moment here in
why
this
wouldn't I
romantic
call
gas
my
station.
mom? Yeah.
This romantic gas station.
So I was like, this is really weird. Maybe it's going to happen, but I'm not going to get my hopes up.
All right,
Oh,
now,
so
hold
you
on,
had
hold
an
on.
inkling.
Hold on. In my defense, I will offer this in my defense. Okay, the proposal had become delayed.
Oh.
Like the 2 weeks before I was going to propose, my grandfather died. So the weekend that I was going to propose, we wound up being in Pittsburgh for the funeral.
Got it.
Yeah.
So her mother knew the proposal was coming.
Oh, now I got it.
Yeah.
And her mother knew it was going to be this day. So I was like, if you call your mother now,
She's going to be like, oh my God.
she's going to be like, yay, what's the news?
And I mean, she did seem really excited that I had called her, but like she didn't let anything on. She wanted me to, say it before she was like, hey. But no.
It was good she thought like far enough
Yes.
ahead, be like,
Thank you,
there's
Linda.
a chance she's going to call me before this happens
Exactly.
for
Yes.
something else.
Yeah.
But no, so then we proceeded to Turkey Point, not Turkey Hill, where we were walking up, like we had to walk up this hill in order to get to the lookout
It's
part.
like a mile and a half hike
Yeah.
back.
And then, which was nice. And we started walking around the cliff and I was like, well, there's really nothing. Like we walked to the cliff. Why are we walking around the cliff? And he started texting somebody. And I was like, okay, this is really annoying. And so turns out that he had arranged for like two of like our friends at the time to hide in the woods and take like
my
creepy
gosh.
photos of us apparently.
creepy photos.
Not really, but really nice photos. At the moment when I heard about it, I was like,
So
well, this
sweet.
is awkward, but okay.
Oh boy.
So like he proposed to me over like the cliffside and
Aw.
at Turkey Point, which Rob jokes to this day about, like, because that way if I said no, I could just like push him
Oh.
down. I could be like, no.
Nope. Bye.
So
Down the cliff.
obviously I said yes because he's still alive. But
Yeah.
True.
but no, I mean, it was nice. Afterwards, we had a little picnic. But like going back to like what you guys had said though about like the intimacy of that moment and the
Yes.
privacy, like it was nice because yes, the people that had taken the pictures, they were there to take the photos. So that meant that they stayed with us. And so like during our picnic, they were sitting there and enjoying the picnic with us, which I was like, okay, this is a little
That
weird.
is a-
No offense, Drew and Tracy, if you're listening.
We
love you,
guys,
but
I mean, there is something to that it was. It's nice that you guys made it a private moment,
Yeah.
but I made ours a bit of a public, which is a really weird
And
contrast
at that-
because that's not how we
Yeah.
are.
And at the time, especially then, I was still dealing with a lot of insecurities and I did not like to put myself out there like that,
Yeah.
which is why I, like did stomp in front of churches all the time. Makes total sense. Sure. But like anxiety and me have been like super tight my whole life. And so having other people around actually kind of like terrified me. And I was like, well, I can't say anything now because other people are here and this
Right.
is just weird. I can't be like, oh, I love you, because
Yeah.
that's awkward because they're here. So
Right. No, I mean, I feel like that could have been handled a couple ways. So you say like you did it publicly, but like in your mind, I feel like it wasn't as public as maybe it seems like now. Like, because you're
Yeah.
just like, oh, they're just taking pictures.
I had intended that I wanted to chronicle the moment. I wanted to have photos of this and not just. So
And the photos are great. Like I have the one photo hanging up in our house.
Yeah.
yeah,
From that
and
moment,
they're good
so,
photos.
yeah.
But it was one of those things where there's an interesting conversation to be had. Where
Yeah.
I mean, we're in a society that chronicles these moments habitually, and we were at the beginning of that with cell phone cameras. I mean, they were truly the flip phone
Yeah.
crap cameras.
Yeah.
But I wanted something that was better than that. I don't know. It is an interesting contrast.
Yeah, no, it totally is. Because I think that these types of moments in life now get so exploited with literally how are we going to use this afterwards in mind. And I think that we're all very blessed to have been at this stage in our lives at a time where that wasn't the thought process yet.
Yeah.
It is going to be interesting seeing my kids, our kids,
Oh, yeah.
navigate what this is in their future.
Yeah, for sure. I'm interested in seeing it just because like we don't have kids, but I want to see how they relive these or live these moments out for themselves that, we lived through in a very different time.
Well, and I mean, like scrolling through TikTok, even like you see influencer after influencer, like when they get married, it's an influencer wedding almost.
Oh, yeah.
So like everybody has like their cameras out and they're, TikTok living it or whatever. They're live streaming it for TikTok.
Yeah.
So even that very intimate moment isn't private. It's like, it's for the whole entire world to see.
Oh, it's so true. There's a very famous, probably the most popular makeup.
Yes, that's who I was
influencer.
just
Was
thinking
it
about.
Michaela?
Yeah. Yep,
So she had mentioned about how like certain brands paid for certain things to have like booths
Yeah,
at their
exactly.
wedding.
Yeah.
And I was like, you literally just turned your wedding into a trade show.
Yeah. I mean, it's a really neat idea. Like the gift bags were all sponsored, So I mean, it saved her a ton of money, I'm sure. But it was just like thinking about that. I'm like, that's not private. Like that's like for me, anyways. And I'm not Michaela because I don't have millions of followers.
Right.
I don't really do anything with my TikTok except for scroll through and like people. That's literally it.
Well, shoot, after all the romance in this episode, we're going to have millions of followers.
Millions upon millions.
There we go.
Millions and millions.
The best podcast on the East Coast.
Coach.
On the East Coach.
Yep, east of the coach bag.
East of the coach bag.
I was kind of enjoying it for a second. The ladies just kind of took it over. I'm like, cool, I'll watch football.
We don't have to do anything.
They went to makeup and stuff, and
Rob,
I mean, it's
when
true.
when one of them mentioned makeup, Rob looked at me like, okay,
I'm out.
But no, like that, like public of a wedding,
Yeah.
like that. And I don't know, unless things change between now and the time that like Ray and Ad, are older, it's going to be interesting to see what their weddings are like.
This wedding brought to you by.
Yeah, like people are going to go out and find sponsorships for certain parts of their wedding so they can get it paid for. Like it's
When Ray gets married, his wedding has to be brought to us by
Taco
Bell.
I was going to say Ohio.
No, I was going to say
Ohio.
Taco Bell in the state of Ohio.
Or Burger King.
Oh
There we
my
go.
gosh, that's not a bad idea. It can be catered and sponsored by Taco
but just
Bell.
stand up front. This wedding reception is produced by Enticing Media.
Perfect.
Stay tuned for the podcast.
We're podcasting this one live. Your
Yeah,
vows.
Anyway, no, it's very cool to learn that story about how you guys got engaged. But I'm really curious because Kenny spent most of the time while I was telling my story shaking his head as though what I remember of our proposal wasn't actually true.
No, you're right. Honestly, I didn't remember.
What was all the head shaking for?
I didn't remember because I thought you were going to say that I proposed before we were living together.
No.
I thought that's where I thought you were going with it. I'm like, no, that's not true.
It's not true at all.
Because you were talking about you were commuting, and I'm like, why were you commuting when you were living here already?
Yeah, so the job that I quit in Baltimore, I still had connections with them, and they had a big event every year. And I said, yeah, even if I'm living in Pennsylvania, I'll come do this event with you. And that was the weekend of the event.
I just don't remember that part of it.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
The rest of it's accurate.
yeah, you were tied up in other thoughts for that day.
Yeah. So maybe you don't even remember a lot of that day.
Yeah, I mean, I remember the actual, like...
Were you nervous?
Yeah.
We were living together and you were nervous?
Well, I mean, you're just nervous because you don't want it to be dumb.
Okay.
Which apparently it was, according to you anyway. So.
All right, hold on now. In his defense, when did you buy the wedding dress?
Oh, before the engagement, absolutely. So here's
Here
the
we
thing though,
go.
like, okay, we had already discussed like getting married and we had discussed like time frames and everything, we knew that we weren't just dating to date,
Okay.
that we wanted to date to get married.
Oh, yeah.
So David's Bridal, this could be sponsored by David's Bridal.
David's Bridal doesn't
Anyway,
exist
reach
anymore.
out.
They're gone, aren't they?
Oh, maybe not. I don't
I
know.
have
No,
idea.
I don't.
Maybe.
I
As
thought
in
they
a
were
couple
done.
years ago, they weren't. But
If
maybe
you're
they are.
not gone yet, reach out to us.
Yeah, we'll save you. We will single-handedly bring your business back.
That's right.
But they had a special that weekend, or like a weekend before we got engaged.
No. You bought the dress in like July.
Well, that's
We
what I
got
said,
engaged
a weekend before we got engaged.
You bought the dress back in July. We got engaged in September.
Yeah.
Because you had the dress before
Well, it was
I
a
had the
weekend
ring.
before we got engaged. It wasn't the weekend before we got engaged.
That's
Yeah.
interesting.
Mhm. But yeah, they had a special, and I was like, hey, wedding dresses are really expensive. And I was working for a daycare, and he was working for a tree removal business. My dad had passed away the year prior, so I wasn't dealing with it in crazy big budget or anything like that. And I
Right.
didn't want to. So it was, are you okay? Like, does this seem weird? But does this seem weird? If it does, I won't get one. But how do you feel about this?
Does it feel weird?
And he was like, go for it.
Yeah.
I was like, okay.
No, I
sounds
mean,
good.
I get that's a little bit of an
Yeah.
awkward
it
conversation.
can be.
to
I
have.
can understand that.
To
Yeah.
be entirely clear, she was actually like, are you okay if I go to this wedding dress thing and look at dresses?
Yeah.
And then
Or
she
am I going to
called-
scare you off?
Well,
And
I
then she
hadn't
called me later
intended
that
on
night
buying
and she was
something.
like, I don't know how you're going to feel about this, but I bought a dress.
It was super awkward to say, but I wanted to be
Yeah.
like open about it.
Yeah,
and, like
good
we
for
were
you.
open about everything else. So
I
was like, why
hadn't
not?
bought the ring yet. We had been ring shopping. I knew what I was going to do. I just hadn't done it yet.
I mean, this whole thing could have played out where she bought the dress, didn't say anything, hung it up in a closet, and you could have opened that closet at some point and saw the
Yeah.
dress and been like, "Whoa,
Yikes.
what is that?"
this all reminds me of. Okay, can you tell we're friends? We're friends, people, right?
Yes.
This reminds
we
me.
are
Do you
friends.
remember what I'm talking about?
The swing band.
No. The episode where Monica and like Rachel and Phoebe went to like.
Oh, and they all tried on.
Oh, yeah.
They
Yeah,
brought
but-
them back and tried them on at home.
Yeah, but then Monica, like, just for like shits and giggles, put her name on like the waiting list for
Yes.
this like venue she thought would be awesome to
Yeah.
get married
Yep.
at, never thinking that there'd ever be an opening. And they like called and said there was an opening and left the message on the answer machine.
And like Chandler,
and
or
Chandler
somebody.
got it.
Yeah.
And he was like,
Yeah, they called and left a message, and they were like, "Hi, Mrs. Bing," or something
Yeah.
like that. The venue is now available for the Bing Geller wedding, and he was like, he like hung up the phone.
he didn't even they were just dating.
Yeah.
I do remember that episode.
It kind of just reminded me of that.
But yeah, I mean, I had an idea that she was going to be saying yes since she had already bought the dress,
Certainly.
but I was nervous.
Yeah. Well, you're nervous just for the whole, because you want it to go a certain way is why you're nervous. Not wondering. I mean, I think in most cases it's not wondering if the person's going to say yes or no. It's you just want it to be a certain way.
Making
Yeah,
sure you
well-
don't fall down the cliff,
Well, or even not. Look, I screwed up asking her out with, let's not beat around the bush here. So it was just,
It was
okay,
really
don't be
awkward.
stupid.
Horny,
Use
horny,
pretty
horny, horny.
words.
Want to go get some dinner, pretty lady?
This thing sparkles and I got it out of a Cracker Jack box.
You look real nice.
It's how to win a girl's heart. Let me tell you what, guys.
Oh,
What? I'm a
my.
Western Pennsylvania redneck.
Western Pennsylvania.
Sounds a little closer to West Virginia.
Yep. That's the Western.
There
And
were
then
no
there's
banjos where
Pennsylvania
he
and
lived.
Kentucky in there.
I'm trying
This-
to hit the nerve.
this
the
is why
West
the-
Virginia nerve.
This is why the Pitt people and the West Virginia people hate each other so much.
Partially. Did you know they actually make a Pennsylvania whiskey?
Oh, really?
No, like a brand.
Midstate
Pennsylvania?
Brewery makes Pennsylvania whiskey.
Is it any good?
I don't know. I haven't had it yet.
Okay.
I'll have to grab a bottle and we'll have to try it.
Oh.
I feel like we have to now.
Yeah. Sorry.
Anyway.
Welcome to the Drunk Squirrel. We occasionally talk about alcohol as well.
Occasionally.
We actually never covered what we're drinking, which is nothing different from what it was.
No, because
part
this
one.
is part 2.
Mine
It's the
changed.
same.
I'm no longer having sparkling water. I'm now having flat water.
Yeah, Rob and I are drinking
Gin and tonics, part 2.
part 2, and Mel is still drinking Moscato.
Yes.
So, okay, I have a question. What? Okay, so obviously there's been several years that have gone by.
Several.
And what keeps this is going to sound terrible. What keeps you coming back? What keeps you going? What
But no, that's a great question because so, like, let's face it, not a lot, that sounds horrible, but there are a few of our friends who over the past couple of years have gotten divorces.
Right, yeah.
So, I mean, that's a great question to think about. And that's something that every time one of our friends goes through that, we're like, how we doing? We check in with each other and
We
going,
do the
are
same
we
thing.
okay here? Like,
Yeah.
what's going on?
Yeah, I actually just learned yesterday about something happening with somebody that we know, and it was kind of surprising, but not really. I think the timing's more surprising, but it's kind of like one of those things where it's like, all right, another one bites the dust. We're still here.
Mm-hmm.
What keeps us here?
Yeah.
That's the basis of my question. What is that? Seriously, like what makes you guys work versus the relationships that you have seen end?
Wow. That's deep.
Sorry.
I don't.
I don't know what to say to that
Lots
because
of grace and forgiveness.
I don't have a
I don't
That's a
really
really
know
good
though,
answer.
Well, yes. I mean, there has to be grace. But, I mean, I don't have a post-mortem on those relationships because there have been people who are close to me that I love dearly, and I'm like, what the hell happened?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You just have no idea because it seemed all so good from the outside.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And, I mean, social media whitewashes things drastically.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Because we only post the highlights on
Right.
socials. We don't want you to... Nobody wants to
Now
post
that we had a
the,
screaming
nose
match last
picking.
night,
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's true. I mean, I would say I think that the reason why we continue to be successful in our marriage is we definitely, I think that a lot of times a lot of outside sources can come in and infiltrate, and whether that's other people or just the facets of society. I could be really, really annoyed with the fact that Kenny went outside yesterday and took a video of himself and posted it on YouTube or whatever, and things like.
Why would you be
I
annoyed
mean, this
by
is-
that? It's
No,
what we
what
do.
I'm trying to say is that
Did you start your OnlyFans outside in the snow?
Apparently.
No, what I'm. There are.
Face plant in the snow?
I think that certain things have evolved so much over the time span of our relationship that wasn't something that we dealt with when we first got together. But now, I mean, that creates a whole other issue. Are you somebody that puts yourself out there or are you not? Because if this would have happened and we would both be in positions where it's different, where I don't believe in putting our lives online and he does, that could be a major stressor on a relationship.
Can I maybe rephrase your question?
Yeah.
Okay. Because it is an excellent question, and it's one that it's hard not to look at, especially with how social media is, and you look and you go, oh, no, these people fell apart.
Yeah.
Maybe the better way to ask it is, how have you seen, and this is to the both of you, how you have grown together
Well, yeah.
at every point when you could have diverged?
That's a good question. That's a really good question. I think if you ultimately fall back onto the foundation of how your relationship was built, then it's not easier to withstand some of those points where you have the ability to pivot. I think that you ultimately literally have to remember where you came from, where you started, your values. In the business world, we say this all the time. You have to do everything according to your core values. And it sounds so cliche, but it's true. Remember your values, what you stand for as a couple, how you've built everything. And if you can continue to go back to that and focus on them, I think then you can ultimately be successful. How about you?
Wow.
Actually, Kenny, let me phrase the question for you this way.
Okay.
Because I see this golf, and Melinda and I were just talking about this earlier this week, actually. Assuming typecasting, or some degree of typecasting. You know, you have type A personalities, uptight, type B, relaxed, and then you have the AB who's mixed. So you have Monica, Chandler, Joey. Okay?
See, that's how you have to explain yourself to me in Friends references, apparently.
I'm leaning into that. I'm having a
But
little
what
fun
about
with it.
Rachel? I mean, are we just throwing her away? Like,
She would be an AB
Oh.
leaning A. But
Yeah.
how have you seen you guys grow? Because my assumption would be that Nell is a type A personality, you're a type B. Have you seen yourself going more A? Have you seen her going more B? Are you guys meeting in the middle?
Probably more so meeting in the middle.
Yeah.
I would think that's what I would say. I don't know that I would have said before the last few years that she's a type A personality, but I think she's
It depends.
yeah, but I think out of necessity you went in that direction, and it's very interesting to be a person that has that ability to make themselves go in that direction.
There might be another conversation in this about how narcissism affects type A and type B personalities and draws you deeper into perfectionism or deeper into...
Oh, that 100%.
Interesting.
I would agree.
Because Melinda and I were talking about that,
Yeah.
where when we got married, I was an AB leaning A,
Yeah.
and post-narcissism, the house is on fire? Sure, where are the marshmallows?
Yeah.
I don't care.
yeah.
Yeah, that's
So-
really interesting. That is really, I mean, I've definitely thought for a while, like being under the influence of a narcissist has definitely made an impact on who I am, who you are,
Yeah.
who anybody is after dealing with that. And definitely has the ability to affect your personality.
And, there is an interesting conversation, because I guess we've all dealt with narcissism
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
a higher up at some point.
Yeah. That's true.
So
That's that can be a whole episode in itself, which Mel and I touched on our one of our episodes that we did with or for you guys.
Yes.
sorry, I didn't mean to take us down this weird rabbit hole that like now it feels all depressed in this room.
I don't know that it's a weird rabbit hole. I'm struggling with how to structure an answer to some of these things. Be honest with you, it's like I'm very seldom tongue-tied, but I seem to be right now.
Well, here maybe is a better question for you. How often do you think about your relationship with Nell in a manner that is stressed? Like, if I don't do, achieve, or maintain.
If I don't do this, what are my repercussions?
Almost never, I would say.
You said almost.
Well, I'm not gonna say it's never anything.
No,
It's never, never.
I'm
Anything's
joking. I'm totally
never.
joking.
Yeah.
But almost never. I mean, you are like Nell is. I just know you are a lot like your father.
Yeah.
Okay, and it's sometimes I just try. I try to not bring added stress, if that's the right thing, because I know on a day-to-day basis, like, you're running a business, and I try not to bring added stress. So if it's been a particularly stressful day and I know it, I try to make everything unstressful on the other side of that. If that does that make sense? Kind of.
No, it does,
the
because
right
that-
answer?
That's exactly what I would do when Ra was going through in the past a very hard time with his former place of work. And there were times where it was like for months on end where he would just be so down and just not himself, that I would make sure that the house was clean, dinner was prepped and ready. By the time he walked in, we would have a nice dessert even. I mean, I went above and beyond to make sure that he was taken care of.
No, not in that way, unfortunately.
Oh my gosh. There you go. You brought
I
it
was
right
hearing
back.
what I was saying. I was like,
'Cause
I
we
know
always
what
have to.
I know what the guys
You
are
could
thinking.
feel the
Yes, I was
looks
like,
they were exchanging.
oh my word.
You could feel the looks.
Now,
There's times
I'm
where I
now
forget this
doing the
is a drunk
same thing for
squirrel.
her. I get home a little bit earlier. I'm trying to make sure dinner's on the table. She does not appreciate when I just have the apron on.
No.
I'm very disappointed.
I don't
by this.
understand why.
I know.
I mean, I could appreciate it.
Yeah, see? Kenny and I will.
gosh.
You know what? There we go. Kenny and I are going to make a nice steak dinner for Valentine's for you two. We're going to use the kitchen and just wear aprons.
If that actually happens, I will die. I will die laughing. I would not be able to hold it together.
Nope. I don't know if I would not be able to eat. I mean, let's just
I would
and
not.
not because of like
Where
whoa,
has that
but
steak been?
yeah, exactly because of that. Just to
Whose
preface.
butt did you slap with it, Kenny?
No, not Kenny. Rob, what did you do to it?
Here's the presentation.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. All right. So, framing the question back to you guys. What do you think makes it possible for you to continue? Like, what makes you guys so successful?
So I wouldn't necessarily say successful because that would indicate perfection, and we are totally not that.
Ooh,
But
no, that's interesting though,
Yeah.
Who
because
is?
depending on your view of success in a
that
marriage,
is true. Yeah.
I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
But if it's not perfection, I think to me, success in a marriage is literally still being married.
Yeah. Okay. Then
And
yes,
actually
good job.
enjoying your marriage.
I feel like that low bar we set in episode or part 1 is.
Wow.
I mean, it's only inching up. It's not like flying up there and being like we're the, bastions of what is marriage.
No, but going back to something that we had said a moment ago, though, just whenever our friends, whenever they go through divorces, we always ask ourselves, okay, how are we doing? Rob specifically always brings it up every time. You're like, how are we? Are we okay? Like, what's going on?
Wow, yeah.
To
and
borrow the words from Kenny, I outkicked my coverage. And I am not going to try and date in this modern
Just
era.
taking
no.
inventory.
God, no.
But like one of our last times, though, I was like, honestly, I think like our stubbornness is what helps us the most. Like we're both
Oh.
incredibly stubborn people. And so like even when
You
we
have to die first for this marriage
sorry,
to end.
bud.
I am not leaving
Yeah.
until you
Nope.
die first.
But so there's that, but then there's also like, yes, even in the middle of a like heated argument, our stubbornness kind of helps us because we're like, okay, I am going to stay in this,
Yeah.
especially on my end. I'm like, dude, I don't care if you need to take a break. You're going to sit here and you're going to work this out right
Yeah.
now. Like, which
Okay.
sometimes works against me, but
I mean,
So there's that element, and this is something I'm working through with even my kid, where there's a deep-rooted anger, and I need to build in space to let my anger,
dissipate?
dissipate. That would be the word.
Okay.
And if I don't have that, I mean, it just...
Yeah. Kenny needs that time too.
Mm-hmm.
And it's usually going out into the garage and throwing something.
That's okay. It's been going to the Y and working on the heavy bag for me.
Yeah, sometimes it just comes out, right?
Yeah.
I don't know what to say. Just is what it is.
There is something to be said for men and anger, how we deal with it. And it's almost primal. It's
Men are weird creatures.
yeah, we are.
I would agree with that.
yep.
I think any guy out there who's not looking and saying, "Yeah, we are," is red flag.
Yeah.
Ooh,
We're
yeah,
just
good
weird
point.
creatures. I mean, in general, I think.
We're emotionally constipated. We are.
Very true. I'm usually on step 2 and he's like,
Step negative
why are
5.
you okay with this? And I'm like, because this is the solution.
I'm
to our problems.
Because this is the way it is.
Yeah. Exactly.
I'm still at like murder and blood, and you're like, what? We're good.
Okay, so this is why you are acting like this. Oh, okay, that makes sense. And you're like, I don't know. not like that, but
It's very interesting because I get over things like very quickly.
Yeah.
And not just in our relationship, in general, in life. Like I'm mad for 5 minutes, and then I'm ready to act like it never happened because it just doesn't make it. What's the point?
yeah.
Yeah, and there's a very true statement to that, where it's once I've been able to process it, whatever, I don't care.
Yeah, like what's the point? Like be like, all right, well, yeah. And I also, and I think most people can probably relate to this, and if not, I think maybe you're not taking yourself seriously enough. I have very extreme reactions to things sometimes, and like 5 minutes later, it's just like, why would you possibly react like that? But like in the moment, like in my head, it made sense. And then later it's like, well, that was a dumbass way to react to whatever that was, right?
Now, do you sit there quietly in your head going, okay, I can't actually admit that was a dumbass reaction?
I'm actually perfectly okay with admitting when I had a completely dumbass reaction to anything.
Yeah.
See, I don't do well with that one.
He
I'll
does
admit
not
that.
know.
Really?
Yeah, I have no problem. Be like, I have no problem admitting in those situations and be like, yeah, that was pretty dumb.
Yeah.
Like, what?
I'll sit there brooding and actually mad at myself for longer.
Which
Why
then
was
makes
I
me
that
feel,
way?
but I don't realize it. I'm like,
Oh,
why
yeah.
is he still so mad at me? Because he's like sitting there and he's brooding because like he wears his emotions truthfully like on his sleeve. So when he's mad, everybody in the room knows he is mad.
Yeah.
And he'll
I'm
so
not
he'll just
mad,
sit
you're
there
mad.
like Ray and Ad will be like at times, Dad, are you okay? Like what's going on? And he's like, I'm fine. And it has nothing to do with
fine.
them. It has everything to do with like something that is in his head or
Yeah.
like a discussion that we had earlier that's he's still like hours later like trying to chew on, or the fact that he realized he did something stupid that he
Yeah.
doesn't want to admit. So
Yeah.
Yeah, there's more anger directed internally than externally.
yeah.
Yeah.
Thing.
Yeah.
That's very fair.
But you wear it externally though.
I know.
All right. I have one more question for everybody.
Oh, boy.
What is one thing that you could change about the other?
Oh, God.
One thing. No, this
Yikes.
is good because
Oh.
it gives each of us something to work on in our marriage. Because if you're not working on something and continuously evolving and growing, then things get Okay, so Mel is holding up her phone, pointing at it aggressively. So I'm going to take a stab at this here, as Mel may or later on with Rob. I'm going to go ahead and say that Mel would like Rob to be off of his phone a little bit more.
Yes. So he has gotten, I will say this, he has gotten a lot better, but like he'll at times be sitting at the table, which this like, it's like nails on a chalkboard to me. Like he'll sit at the table at times. If like we're having a conversation, he's like, oh, that's right. I wanted to look something up. And he'll start looking it up. Or if we're talking about a movie, he of course has to like remember what the lead actor or who produced it or something else. So we can't just have a conversation without this, his cell phone,
actually knowing.
being in his actual hand. And it drives me up a wall because I'm like, are you paying attention to me or are you paying attention to whatever's in your head?
Yeah,
And that starts a lot of our arguments
got it.
on
Got
my
it.
end.
Makes sense. Rob?
All right, to be entirely fair, pot calling me black.
Go for it.
You at like night, you're on your 5,000th TikTok of the night, and I'm like, hey, can we go to bed now?
Well, yeah, you can go to bed.
2 in the morning.
Oh, whoa,
2 in the
not 2 in the morning.
Oh, wow.
I am not that late. I'm not a late.
I'd-
Kids
have
are
been-
in bed. We could.
Oh, boy. Oh, jeez.
And that
Stop.
everybody is the reason why he wants me off of my phone
Yep.
Hey,
early.
hey,
Got it.
Like the kids go to bed at 9 and he's like, so are you ready for bed yet?
Hey,
I'm like, it's
hey.
9:01. This is the first time I've had a chance to
I
sit
normally give
down.
I give them long enough to be asleep.
It's like you have spent hours long on the toilet, like scrolling.
Yes.
But like this is my first time to sit down quietly, uninterrupted, and you're like, hey, go to bed? I'm like, no.
No, I am sitting here on this couch and looking at TikTok.
Yes.
Yeah, I get that.
It's well-earned time on the couch. I don't want to sit there for hours long on the toilet. Sorry, but
All right, Kenny, now your
Oh.
turn. You put us under the microscope. Here you go.
All right, I'll go. Or do you want to go first?
No, it's fine.
I would like Kenny to how do I say this? Not take more action, but like make more decisions. Yeah.
Yeah. That's fair.
Yeah. That's what sorry to be very underwhelming, but that's it.
No,
I get that.
She's not wrong there, and part of it is it'd be like, well, part of it is because I'm attempting to make you happy,
Yeah.
and so
You're afraid to make the decision.
yeah, kind of.
Well, but it's also feeling because I get this. I know how he feels
Like-
with that question because I've heard this of, hold on, as a husband, as someone who loves you, I need more input. I need more information.
Yeah,
Oh.
sometimes that is. Yeah, she's legitimately like, I don't care. Like, I don't care. Whatever. Like, okay. You know.
I think I get like decision fatigue
Yeah.
because all day long, like, yeah, you're in. The Steelers.
Yes.
Anyway.
Son of a.
Next podcast. But no, I don't disagree with that part of it, of needing more information. Like, I could do better. But I mean, when it's something as simple as, where do you want to go for dinner?
Ugh. I hate
Like,
that
it's
question.
literally the worst question in the world. And I'm going to answer the same way all the time, unless I have a specific idea in mind. But even when it comes to something like, when do we want to take action on, like, doing something? Not usually booking a trip, although sometimes it can be. But, like, he booked everything for Costa Rica, planned the entire trip, and did a fantastic job. So I don't understand why there's this fear. But, yeah, so anyway, back to the decision fatigue. I just feel like, the business all day, it's, like, full of all these decisions. And
No.
it's like, ugh.
No,
Yes.
I feel triggered.
What? Why?
Okay. Kenny, do you ever care what you eat for dinner?
Not a lot, no.
Men are like garbage disposals. You put a peanut butter and jelly sandwich in front
Well,
of your
I mean,
husband who doesn't like that.
That's
And what did he
true.
do?
I did eat that. Yeah.
But I didn't eat the rest of it.
As long as she doesn't make me mushrooms, then
I sneak
smell what
mushrooms
those
in
grow
and
in.
you never know it.
other than that, yeah, I'm good.
I
Yeah.
sneak them in.
Men
I
are
know she
trash disposals. We literally do not care.
But I get what Nell's saying though, because I'm the same way. Like during
But you have
during
s-
the
Oh.
during the day.
You got it.
This is why I'm triggered.
So like, but as Nell said though, during the day, like I have so many different decisions to make, and not just decisions for myself, but decisions though that pertain to other people, other
Yes.
children, other whatever, that it's hard for me at the end of the day when I'm coming home and I'm like, oh, I really want to go out for dinner,
Yeah.
to be like, well, what do you want? I don't know. And I get his frustration with this too, because like out of the two of us, I have so many different like dietary things. Like I have GERD and I have to be on low sodium stuff because of my health. So between those two things, he does feel, which I mean, he's, justified, I guess, in that to say like, okay, what do you want to eat? Where do you want to go? Because it's okay. Like finding low sodium things on menus can be really challenging,
yeah.
or trying to figure out, okay, what's not going to make me sick tonight if I eat this because of my GERD? Another challenge. I get it. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, no, I get that.
But no, I also want decisions though. I want
Sorry,
him
I
to
feel
Yeah,
make
I
them
want
too.
like
Yeah.
somebody to take hold of a situation.
Yeah.
That's yeah.
Kenny, when you have taken hold of the situation, do you feel like you're right for doing it?
No. Well,
Okay.
no, but well,
Ladies and gentlemen,
We're
after this episode, we're all going to marriage counseling.
If anybody knows a marriage counselor, please reach out.
there's
We actually do want to have one on, so
there's
you know.
dinner and then there's other decisions. But yes, in the dinner aspect of it. But then the first four things you say, they're like, no,
Wrong.
But sometimes I wonder, like, if you're just like, okay, you don't even tell us where you're taking us, you just go there. What I wonder at times what my reaction would truthfully be like.
I agree with you.
Yeah, like you don't tell
Totally.
us, just go. Like
Yeah.
skydiving, I probably would have been like, "Ooh, I'm excited, but I don't really know." And like, what about this? What about that? If I had time to process it, I
Right.
would have been like, "Yeah, no, I'm good."
Yeah,
You
I
know.
totally.
Did we just get told that Craig is doing marriage better than us? With our wives?
I don't think so because Kayla was ready to stab him.
That's true.
So-
that is true. So
Not
he's doing
Kayla.
better-
With our wives.
With our wives.
Did we just get told that Craig is doing marriage better with our wives?
I'm editing
Oh,
all this
crap.
shit
Then-
out of here.
Maybe we need to reach out to them.
Well, Craig doesn't.
Maybe
even,
we need a part 3.
Craig doesn't even know how to listen to podcasts, so he's not going to hear this.
Oh my
I think
gosh.
we're safe. His parents do though at times.
Yes.
Yikes.
Oh well.
So you haven't answered the question yet.
Wow.
Yeah.
For me personally, I would like it if you were more affectionate,
I knew he was going to say that.
Ditto.
but not in a sexual way. That's not what I'm saying.
I
Because
don't
like,
believe you.
But no.
yes,
Like
that
a cuddle.
I
would be
don't
nice
believe either
also.
of you.
A huge cuddle.
Mel doesn't believe you either.
In
100%.
yes, I would also like you to be more affectionate in a sexual way. Absolutely. However,
I think every man would say that.
However,
but touch is huge.
like, what night? What night was it?
What's giggling?
If you touch it, it gets huge.
Stop.
No, I forget what night it was. Was it this week? Was it Friday night? I don't remember. When
What are you
you
referring to?
we were on the couch, and typically we're on either ends of the couch. Okay.
Yeah.
And usually Lucky's laying on her on the couch, and Lucky lays on me in bed. It's like this is
She has her sits
This is her
people
routine.
and certain, yeah.
But I'm always like, you can like
Scoot over.
yeah,
Hi.
lean
Hello.
on me or whatever. So she like totally spun around and like put a pillow down, and she like laid and fell asleep on me, and I was just like watching television.
That made your night, didn't it?
Yeah, I was like, that was great.
Aww.
But that.
But she will tell you though, she will tell you incorrectly in most cases. She's like, well, the only reason that you want like the cuddle time is because you want what comes afterwards.
Yes,
And while that may be,
That is
you.
Hold on.
Yes.
Yes, but it doesn't always have.
but not in that setting.
Right.
You give me
BS.
a shoulder massage. You're like, let me just massage your shoulders.
Because how many times are you like, okay, massage my shoulders, and that will lead to
That's the only. Oh,
Okay.
yes.
Okay.
mixed signals.
All right. You know what? This is not the podcast for this. This is not the proper podcast. But
This isn't what we're talking about. However, we're going to talk about it.
Kenny and I are in fighting moods
I'm
now.
not. I'm not. I'm just gonna stop. I'm gonna stop. I'm gonna stop because it's
All right,
not.
all right, hold on.
I'm
so
stopping.
to be fair, to summarize, because I think this is the best perspective to be
Yeah,
given.
I'm just gonna stop.
Early in any relationship, there is that warm, affectionate side that is physical but non-sexual.
What? Wait.
Early in a relationship, when you're dating, those
Okay.
first couple dates,
Yeah.
whenever you decide, well, before you decide that the relationship becomes sexual as well as
Right.
emotional and physical, okay?
Okay.
There is that side of the relationship that is just physical.
Okay. I see what you're saying.
But
Like
the
the
thing
holding of the
is-
hands and.
Yeah.
The thing is once that relationship crosses the boundary of sexual now, everything that is physical must lead to sexual, but that's not how guys always want things. I know. Yes,
See,
we
here's
want
the thing,
things to
though.
end there eventually, but it doesn't have to be every time.
You're like,
It's just you've associated that every time it has to, because you're creating a dynamic in which the only times that it does... Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to create a part 3 of this eventually, because we are in a fighting space with our wives.
Kenny's about to destroy the office.
But it's very true, where it's not... It doesn't
No.
always have to end sexually.
okay, if you ask for a shoulder massage, okay,
Ooh.
then yes, that's where it ends, is a shoulder massage, which you ask for like on a repeated basis because your shoulders hurt or your neck hurts or your back hurts. Okay. But if I ask for one, that's not where it will end.
Because
Yeah.
you've
So
also...
I never ask for one.
Because
Yes!
the flip side to it is you've also created dynamic is the only time you ask for it is when it leads to. Because...
Wait.
Because it has. That's the history
It doesn't
of
have
it.
to.
So you're telling me that if Michelle...
Wow, Michelle.
I really just called you Michelle.
No,
Michelle?
no.
If
That's
Mel-
my other wife.
That's
If-
his Tuesday, Thursday wife. So.
Yeah. If Mel asked you for a shoulder massage, that you wouldn't attempt. This is the line, because every time that there's some sort of like physical touch in that nature, that's what I'm used to. Is there is an attempt?
Absolutely. And if we say no, they're like, oh.
Yeah,
are you
it's like,
sure?
all right, well,
Like
I
then
guess
you
we'll
get
just go watch
dejected.
TV.
Yeah. And then it's all hands off.
Yeah.
Come on,
it's
Kenny.
Like we
It
can't
is.
just hold hands or like put your arm
Oh
around
my gosh,
me.
it's so true.
Yes.
Kenny,
He's raising his hand.
I'm gonna say it. I'm
Do it.
just gonna say
do
it,
it.
and I'm gonna let the repercussions be what they may.
I think this is where we also end the episode.
Yeah,
This is
probably.
we're
Just-
gonna end the
all right.
episode on this.
We're rolling the dice on Kenny's nuggies of relationship wisdom.
All right. What I want to, and it's not just you two, and it's not just us two. What I really, truly want to know is on a sexual level, okay? All right? If it appears, at least it sounds and everything, like the female is enjoying it as much as the male, okay? Right? You're assuming that is the case, which I believe to be the case in our relationship. I have not been there for that portion of your relationship. So I will
love
hold
of
back
God.
judgment on that.
If you thought the photographers at your proposal were weird, just you wait.
But
Wait
what
until
I'm
we're
saying-
Kenny.
podcasting in your bedroom.
from a male to female level and perspective, if indeed in the moment you're enjoying it equally, why is it that one wants it more than the other on a normal level? That's a good question. That's a fair, and it's not just us as couples. It's
There-
in general.
There is
And
a conversation to be
It
had
doesn't
on.
necessarily. Sometimes it's the woman versus the man too.
I feel like the
Honestly.
conversation needs to go to mixed signals at this point.
Yeah.
Well, and there's a conversation to be had on libido levels and desire.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's that true.
Yeah, like-
there's that too.
But generally speaking, it's like, well, you appear to be enjoying it. Why do?
But I think the final point to leave with is that there are aspects that we can all do better, and I
Yes.
guess I'm not going to just end us on Kenny's nuggies of wisdom here. I'm gonna ask one last question that we'll leave as like a 2-second answer for all of us,
Okay.
since we went into this weird space.
Yes.
What's a positive in your partner?
Aw, that's nice.
Yeah, we're all going to marriage counseling after this. But what's a positive
doesn't
in your?
negate that?
Yeah.
That's very simple. She's relentless in what she wants.
Oh,
The relentless pursuit of what she wants that's not the only positive, but that's
one of the ones
That-
that you're seeing right now. That
jumped out at
Yeah.
me very, like, as soon as you asked that question, that's the first thing that popped into my head. So
interesting.
the relentless pursuit of what she wants.
no.
That's really good. I don't know if I can like. Now I'm like, I don't. Gosh, there's
She's like,
a lot of.
He unloads the dishwasher. I'm just kidding. I am just kidding. But I do.
That is definitely a
All right. Now let me buy you some time.
okay.
It is your deep compassion. I love seeing how you are with whether it's the ministry things or our kids or the work that you do. I love seeing this deep compassion you have to draw out the best in people, in kids, in the world around you, that you are able to just tap into. And you've been doing this for years, well before we got married. And it is a huge reason why I looked at you and I wanted to marry you. You were hot, but you were also beautifully compassionate towards people. And it's still amazing 16 years on. So
You're gonna make me cry.
Thank you. I always feel so awkward when people say stuff like that. I don't know why.
well, great.
I
Kenny
love
and I
you.
took everything awkward last time, and we were throwing down fighting
But
words
no.
here.
Okay, so my turn then. For you, for Rob, it's your empathy for others. The way that you care for other people and the way that you feel. Like, I know at times you feel it works against you because you like, or at least we used to in our early years, we would go up to like a mall that was really close by our house and just like walk the mall or whatever and like people watch. And you would love it and hate it at the same time because you would be able to read them and to feel their emotions so intensely. But as we've grown, like even what you've done over the month of December, for example, you'd come home with all of these stories about other children and like what you witnessed with their families. And everything from ministry perspectives, from outside of ministry. It's been amazing to watch you grow into that and to learn how to work with that empathy, because it can tear you down. Absolutely. It can burn people out. Empathy can. But to see you lean more into it and to learn how to care for others and to show that you care for others based off of that empathy has been incredible to see. So yeah.
Oh, wow, that's really sweet. Okay. All right. I do have it. Okay. So
It took her 6 years to figure something out, but she has it. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding.
You know, it's because there are a lot of positives.
I don't
And you
believe
have
that
to-
for a second. I do not have a lot of positives.
Are you still
thank
hangry?
goodness.
No, I don't. I'm not knocking
sure?
you. I'm saying I don't have a lot of positives.
That's not true. That's a negative, actually, the way that you talk down on yourself. But one of the positives that I really enjoy about you is how your ability to connect with other people. It's not even just the empathy, which is part of it, because that actually annoys me sometimes. But it's one of the best things about you. And that's how I know it is because if I'm annoyed by it, because yeah, I know this sounds really like totally backwards.
All right.
But you have the ability to give so many second chances and see the best in people and all of these positive things where I'm just like, no, they did this to me once. I'm not getting over it. They will suffer.
That's your father coming out.
I know. I know. So you have the ability to look past that, which I don't all the time. So that I think is also something that complements our relationship. But your ability to connect with other people is something that's like if you see a celebrity or somebody that you think that you should be connected with, he'll just send them a Twitter message. Sometimes it's a DM. Sometimes it's out there in public. He'll literally go to any length to go find this person and have a conversation with them, and then ends up doing it and then having some sort of relationship with them. It is like, how do you do that? Like, I've gotten better at connecting with people since I've been doing this, because I really have no choice. But for some reason, you've always been able to do that. Like, oh, you want to do this? I'll find somebody that I can connect with and we'll make it happen. Like, that's pretty cool.
I would agree with that because I have seen that in action where he's just like, hi, my name's Kenny and we're now new best friends. What the hell did
Pretty
this
much.
happen?
Pretty
We have
much.
a podcast?
Yeah, and I struggle on the flip side of that. I have no issue like connecting with people. That's not an issue at all. Like, I'll do that all the time. But yeah, sometimes I stop short of saying the things that I should say because I don't want them to come across as like I'm trying to be boastful or something like that.
Yeah, I hate when you'll start like, or anybody starts like talking about like, oh, I've done this, or I think maybe in the past couple of years I've become very desensitized to like things that are very public. Like, I don't know. That's just me. Anyway.
It's hard. I don't know what the answer is.
Anyway.
I think where we can end it is that, Kenny, you and I love our wives deeply.
That's a fact.
And yeah, it's better to be on the journey with them than without them.
Yeah.
And let's grow together. Continue to grow together.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I love it.
100%.
All right.
All right.
This has been The Drunk Squirrel.
Yeah, and thank you for listening to part 1 and part 2. Hopefully you listened to both.
Thanks for having us.
Yes, thank you, Nell and Mel, for joining us for this last hour or 2 hours or whatever it's been. So anyway, we'll catch you again in 2 weeks.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Thanks for listening to The Drunk Squirrel. No need to pay a tab. Just be sure to follow us on social media, Facebook, Instagram, and drop us a line, thedrunksquirrel82@gmail.com. Cheers.